Hey everyone, welcome to the PCS-Proof Podcast, where we're covering the vital things you need to know to thrive in every season of military life. I'm your host and milspouse fitness expert, Grace Barnick-Damaso, and I encourage you to join me each week as we dive deep into topics like fitness, wellness, and entrepreneurship as a military spouse so that you can maintain your own sense of identity and purpose, conquering every transition with strength and resilience. As we journey together, you can expect uplifting conversations and insights. We'll share some laughs, and you can count on me to keep it real so that together we can become truly PCS-proof. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to the PCS-Proof Podcast. I'm your host, Grace Barnick-Damaso. Today, we're going to talk a lot about time and being efficient with our time. So let me honor your time by jumping right in with a wild stat. The average person spends over 2.5 hours a day on social media and watches nearly 3 hours of TV or video daily. And if we do the simple math, that equates to 35 hours a week. That's almost a full-time job, gone to scrolling, to binge watching, and to mindless distractions. And yet, one of the biggest challenges that I hear from people is that they simply do not have the time to work out, to eat healthy, or to prioritize their health. So what's the solution to resolve this dissonance, this friction of feeling like we're just too busy to fit anything more into our schedules, and yet we know that we want to make some changes in order to achieve the healthy life that we want? How do we fix this? Today, we're talking about a game-changing concept that could be the key to finally sticking to your fitness goals in 2025. If you've ever felt like you're drowning in a million responsibilities, military life, family life, career, deployments, PCS moves, and you just can't seem to make time for you, then grab your coffee, pop in your earbuds, and listen in, because the truth is, we do have time to do it all. And I'm going to help you do that today. So stay tuned in and get ready to make some major adjustments to your mindset around how to fit it all in and get better results in 2025. All right, I want you to picture this. You have an empty jar sitting in front of you, and next to it you have some big rocks, some smaller rocks, a little bit of sand, and some water. Your job is to fit everything into that jar. And if you start with the water and the sand, filling your jar with all the little things, and we can think of those little things as random obligations, social media scrolling, TV, chores, or the never-ending list of to-dos, you'll have zero space left for the bigger rocks. But if you flip that around and you start by placing the bigger rocks in first, and then add the smaller rocks or the pebbles. Follow that by adding the sand, and then finally fill with the water. Suddenly everything fits. And the lesson here is that prioritization matters. Your big rocks are the non-negotiables that move you closer to the big health and fitness goals that you have for yourself. The pebbles are the smaller, less important tasks, and the sand and the water, those are the time wasters and the distractions that, while they may feel urgent in the moment, don't really help you in the long run. We call this the big rocks analogy. And it is such a perfect way to describe how the great majority of us are really going about our lives. We can spend an entire day feeling like we're buzzing around nonstop, and then at the end of the day, we feel frustrated or discouraged because another day just slipped through our fingers and we didn't get any of the things done that we really wanted or needed to for ourselves. Another day gone without any progress. We were busy, but we still feel like the day was wasted. We didn't make any forward progress. This is a clear indicator that we're filling up our jars with the water and the sand first, or we're not clear on what our big rocks truly are. Either way, the alarm bells are ringing loud and clear that we need to make some major adjustments to our priorities so that we can fit it all in and still get everything done. So how do we do this? Well, the very first step, which I'm hoping you've already done, especially if you've been listening to most of the more recent episodes of this podcast focused on powerful goal setting, is to be very clear on what your goal is for this year. Because if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. So you really need to start there. You need to know exactly what your goal is that you're trying to achieve. But assuming that you've already done that, then we can get clear on what the big rocks are that are going to move you the furthest and the fastest toward your specific goal. So if we apply this to your health and fitness goals for 2025, which I hope you have, what are your big rocks? Maybe it's strength training 2 to 3 times a week to build lean muscle and fire up your metabolism to maybe lose some body fat. Or maybe it's prioritizing protein and whole foods so that you feel strong and energized and will maybe start to repair some hormone imbalances that you're trying to correct. Maybe it's getting 7+ hours of sleep each night so that your body can recover from the added stress you've been experiencing lately. Maybe you're in the middle of a PCS or in the middle of a deployment. These are the needle movers. If you put these things first, you will see progress. But if you let your schedule fill up with the sand, the mindless scrolling, the overcommitting to things that don't align with your priorities or your goals, or simply just not planning ahead, then you'll always feel stuck. You will always feel frustrated, like you're spinning your wheels, burnt out, and out of time. And the science backs this up. Studies show that people who prioritize a few key habits over trying to do everything at once are more likely to sustain their progress long term. It's not about doing more. It's about focusing on what matters most. And here's the cool thing. When you do prioritize those few big rocks, more often than not, you're going to find that you still have plenty of time to watch that TV show you love or spend time on social media even. If that's important to you, you can have it all. But it starts with identifying your big rocks and then doing them first. Fill the jar with the big rocks first. Everything else will fill into the crevices and the spaces. So how do you decide what your big rocks are? How do you figure out what is the biggest priority? I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions, and this should help at least move you in the direction of finding out what your big rocks are. And also just know that these don't have to be perfect. You don't have to nail it on the head the first time. So go through this activity, put them into action, and then by doing this, by taking action, you might make some adjustments and figure out that maybe this thing is a higher priority and you can tweak. That is the beauty of this process, is we have to figure out what works best for you, and that takes action and then making little tweaks along the way. So here are the 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself. First question is, what actions will bring me the biggest return on my time and or my effort? So in our example above, think strength training, whole foods, hydration, rest. Question number 2, what habits will make everything else easier? So that might be meal planning. Putting in that little bit of time and effort into meal planning will make it so much easier to eat the healthy meals that you want to and not end up in the fast food line if that's not your goal. Scheduling your workouts, planning them in advance, setting boundaries around your time. And then question number 3 is, what is truly essential versus what just feels urgent? Because urgent doesn't always mean important. I mean, I can feel like my laundry is urgent, but really, it can wait. Once you get clear on your big rocks, you must commit to putting them in your jar first. That is key. That means scheduling them into your day, protecting them like your life depends on it, because honestly, your health does depend on it. And letting go of the guilt when you say no to the pebbles, to the sand, and to the water that are just not serving you. And hey, for all of you entrepreneurs out there, I hope that you're also thinking about this for your business because the exact same principles apply. Don't get caught up in the sand of your business. I know that it's so easy to do, but make sure that you're clear on your business goals and your big rocks. And then make sure that you have a standing appointment in your daily and your weekly calendar for those big rocks. Now let's talk about another way that we can sabotage our progress by doing all the right things, but maybe we're doing them in the wrong order. And this happens all the time in fitness. So maybe you're meal prepping every Sunday, you're getting in your workouts a few times a week, you're drinking plenty of water, but you're still not seeing the results you expected. Why? Oftentimes, it's because we might be focusing on the pebbles before the actual big rocks. We just have our order of implementation a little off. So here's an example. If you're doing tons and tons of cardio before you're doing strength training, you might be burning calories, but you're not really building the lean muscle that actually boosts your metabolism and reshapes your body. Or you're tracking all your food, but you're not prioritizing protein. You might be eating healthy, but you're not fueling the muscle repair and growth, or you're not feeling full. Or you're stressing over supplements, but you're only getting 5 hours of sleep a night and your body isn't recovering or optimizing normal bodily functions to get you the results you want. You're not even recovering from the workouts that you're doing. So you can see how this actually could put you in a worse position or make you kind of feel like you're chasing your tail. You're putting in so much effort, but you're just not seeing results. And the science is really clear about this. Not all habits are equal when it comes to impact. Even though they're all good habits, there are some that are just going to be higher impact and therefore they should be higher priority. So a study in the Journal of Sports Medicine found that prioritizing resistance training and protein intake leads to significantly better body composition changes compared to just focusing on calorie control alone. And I'll add to this in saying that when you order your priorities correctly, you will get significantly better results with way less time commitment. I see it in action with my clients all the time. In fact, I just have to pause here and tell you that this is exactly what I'm going to be teaching in my upcoming masterclass, which I'm hosting at the end of February. The masterclass is titled The 4 Pillars of Body Transformation. And I'm not only going to be teaching you what to do to transform your body, but I'm also going to be teaching you the exact order of priority to implement each pillar so that you can get better results in way less time and frankly in a way that's safer and more sustainable long term. And I'll share all the information about the masterclass at the end of this episode, but I just wanted to make sure to tell you, in case you're feeling like you just aren't 100% sure what habits have the most impact or which habits have a bigger impact than others, I'm literally going to hand them to you in an easy formula so you'll know exactly what the big rocks are and in what order to implement them. But the bottom line is that if you're going to be grinding away but not seeing results, you might need to take a step back. And you might need to ask yourself, am I doing the right things, but just in the wrong order? If so, it's an easy time to restructure your approach. This is the time to do it. So why does all of this matter? Listen, military life is so unpredictable. Deployments happen, PCS orders come in out of the blue, routines get flipped upside down. But when you know your big rocks and you build your routine around them, you create this foundation that will withstand all of that unpredictability and can weather any storm that comes your way. That is how you create a sustainable habit, a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. So we need to make sure that we're clear on that. Why are we doing this? It's not just for now, it's for your entire life. And here's the real magic. When you start with the big rocks, everything else still finds a way to fit. You don't have to cut out fun. You don't have to cut out Netflix or downtime. You just anchor your life around what truly matters to you first. That is how you create sustainable results that stick around long after the New Year's motivation fades for sure, and long after you can even remember what all of that sand was that felt so urgent in the moment. And it's completely up to you now. You have this really powerful information that I've given you. It's your choice. It's up to you. 3 months from now, do you want to look back and kick yourself for once again letting life take control, filling your jar with the water and the sand, and leaving no room for real progress? Or do you want to look back 3 months from now and feel proud of yourself for putting yourself first, for taking control of your progress by putting the big rocks first? So here's my challenge for you. You know, I always like to give you some action steps. I want you to write down your 3 to 4 biggest priorities for your goal this year, your big rocks. And then I want you to look at your weekly schedule and put them into your calendar first. And a little pro tip is to put them into your schedule at a time when you have the most control over. So for me, that's in the morning. For you, if you have kids that are in school, maybe that's the middle of the morning or the middle of the afternoon when the kids are still at school. But find the time that you have the most autonomy over and put them in your schedule there. And then step 3 is to set boundaries around any distractions that could come your way. Maybe that means deleting an app, maybe, or setting a social media timer. There are so many apps out there that will control how much time you spend on social media. So if you need to download an app in order to help you with this, do it. Or maybe it's just telling everyone in your inner circle that you're going to be unavailable during that time block. Maybe it's saying no to something that just doesn't align with your goals right now. You don't have to say no forever. It's just a no for right now. And if you're ready to take this even further, take that next step and let me hand you the big rocks that you need to transform your body this year, along with the exact order of priority for taking action so that you can get better results in much less time. I want to invite you to join me this month. I'm going to be hosting a completely free masterclass where I'm going to teach you the proven scientific data for why traditional fat loss programs have failed us and are failing us. And then you'll learn the 4 pillars, aka the big rocks of what actually does work and what has been proven to work in countless number of studies and the women that I work with in person, basically every single day. And I'm going to teach you the hierarchy of implementation, so it will save you a ton of time. You're going to walk away feeling empowered with the knowledge to brush away all of those tempting but dangerous fad diets and quick fixes that are not going to get you the healthy, lasting results that you're wanting. And if you'd like to attend my free masterclass, you can head straight over to my webpage. That's fitpathcoaching.com to save your seat right now. I'll also have a link on my Instagram profile at Grace B Fitness, and I'll include the link directly to the registration page in the description for this episode. Don't pass on this opportunity. I'm telling you, I'm not going to be sharing this class with anyone but those who are registered. And honestly, this is the type of education that I wish I had been offered when I started out on my own health and fitness journey. It would have saved me so much time, so much frustration, having to figure it out on my own. That's why I'm offering it to you. So I'm excited to have you join me live and be able to answer your specific questions and to help support you even more this year. So make sure to register and save your seat to join me. Remember, you don't need more time. You need to use the time you have on what actually matters. Prioritize your big rocks. Protect them, and watch how everything else just seems to kind of fall into place. The sand and the water will fill the gaps around the big rocks. You can have it all. And if you love this episode, share it with a fellow military spouse or coworker or family member who seems to put everyone and everything else first. Let them know that you support them and their desire to live a healthier, more fulfilled life. Sometimes all we need is for someone to validate our feelings of overwhelm and burnout. Sharing this episode with them can be your way of telling them, I see you. I see everything that you do for everyone else. And I also support you in wanting more for yourself. Don't forget to take a moment to subscribe to the PCS-Proof Podcast so you don't miss next week's episode, which will probably be our final installation in this series of episodes where I've been sharing my best practices to help you achieve your biggest fitness goals in 2025. You don't want to miss it. And until next time, keep showing up. Keep putting you first. And keep crushing those goals. You have got this. And remember, no matter where in the world military life sends you, together we are PCS proof. Adios.
And here is the legal language. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or fitpathcoaching.com. Moreover, we are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast.